break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss, that's fact, taking big swings, bitch, hand me the bat, put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag, cause I sing what I mean and I bring it to the mad light.
Swazdullah, you knuckleheads, how the hell are you? Hope you all are doing well. Today we're going to talk a little bit about fashion frame. How to fashion your frame, how do you go about it? It's not random. There is or there can be some methodology behind it. And we're going to go over that a little bit to help you make your frames look a little bit more snazzy. But before we hop right into all of that, let me go ahead and drop a couple words from today's sponsor. Check it out. Opera GX, the free web browser designed for gamers and in my opinion, absolutely convenient for content creators, streamers of any kind. Let's go over some of the features, shall we? Now, as some of you may know, I've been using this browser for a couple of weeks now and I absolutely love it. I love the fact that you can completely own the browser and customize it to be whatever it is you want to be. All the colors, all the fonts, animated things here and there. Customize it completely however you want. A newer feature that they added lately are animated wallpapers that you can find up here. Get wallpapers sorted by animated and you will see quite a large amount of really nice animated wallpapers that you can just install very easily and then have the background of your browser looking super snazzy, let me tell you. You can also go ahead and integrate all of your social media that you probably use, like WhatsApp, for example, Facebook Messenger, Instagram, Twitter, Discord, which I use all the time. Personally, I have Instagram, Twitter, and Discord installed on mine. For my convenience, I use those pretty much the most. It's been really nice and convenient to do that. In case you're using other browsers right now and you have certain extensions there that you really don't want to miss out on, also no problem because you can now import all of your extensions too. So the extensions that you're using on your, say, Chrome, for example, now will also work in Opera GX. It is really, really convenient. That is just phenomenal. That is new for me as well, and I use that as well. Now I really don't need to use any other browsers. I have no use. Every other browser just became completely useless to me. You have a quick import tool for all of your settings as well. Anything that you need over there, you can import that very easily. You can find that option over here. You also have forced dark mode, a built-in free VPN. Yes, you heard correctly. A built-in free VPN comes with the Opera GX browser, and the browser too is free, like I mentioned already, maybe. Did I mention that? The browser is free. Anyway, you also have Opera GX Mobile. Opera GX Mobile comes with a new feature called Flow. What you can do with Flow is connect your desktop browser with your mobile browser and send files, links, documents, pictures, whatever, back and forth between the two, which can be very convenient because I've been abusing Discord to do exactly that. I don't need to do that anymore though, fam, so that's really nice. Now, if you want to go ahead and give this browser a shot, which I highly recommend you do, like I said, it's free. Then you can just scroll down and use the link in the description below. It'll take you straight to where you need to be to download it immediately and then start enjoying customizing it and using all the convenience that it brings to the table. Now, without further ado, let's continue with the video. Beautiful. All right, so you're a new player. You have a new Warframe. I'm on my Smurf account right now. Well, Smurf account right now so that I can very easily demonstrate what I have and what I don't have. For many of you guys, the situation is going to look very, very similar. The options that you have for customizing are going to be very bleak. Customizing your Warframes to look really, really good without spending any plat ever is going to be very, very, very difficult because you don't get a lot of customization options for free. The next one that is coming up is going to be the Valentine Red, which I can probably show you guys in just a sec. The Valentine Red on Valentine's Day, it'll be free, well, virtually free. It's going to be 1 credit. It's not even in here, is it? No, it isn't. Well, it goes from a very, very light pinkish red all the way to a very dark red. Make sure you pick that up because the darkest red on that pack is very important because it gets as close to black as you can possibly get. But yeah, you're going to find yourself in a situation where eventually you're going to want to start spending some platinum on some of the customization options, colors or Sugatras or skins or whatever. So of course there are a lot of packs. There are more than what you see right here, and it's like, okay, well, what do I get, right? Well, just as some recommendation, I want to give you guys a little bit of an idea of what you can look for before we get into how to actually build your fashion frame from the ground up and everything. For that, we're going to hop over to my other account. But for now, you're in this situation. You have only this one row of very, very basic colors. Honestly, I don't know why DE hasn't made this whole entire pack, the classic one, just available right from the get-go, because these colors aren't all that great. They're all like kind of boring and matte. And out of all of them, you only have the one row. I don't know, it's silly, especially since you have this option over here, which is the exact same thing, just good. All these colors here, they're the same colors, just vibrant. You know what I mean? These here are a little bit less saturated, but all right, whatever. What I would recommend you guys do if you're looking to spend some platinum on a color palette is to get something that is as different from what you have available at the moment as possible. Okay, so if we're looking in here and these are your super basics, if you do ever buy, or you want these here but you do want to buy them, don't waste your platinum on the classic, because yes, you'll unlock all of these colors, but all of these colors are kind of crappy because they're not very saturated. You should probably rather get over here to the classic saturated one, which is the exact same thing, just better in every single way. There are some cases where you're going to want some more matte colors opposed to some more vibrant colors, fair, but we got other packs for that, so you might as well go with this one. This is the best one for your buck at first. Okay, so let's assume you bought this one here, or you unlocked all of this one, and now you have quite a variety of a couple of basic colors with a couple of different shades. This is a really good variety to have, this or this, right? So the next one that you would want to buy is something that is as different from all of these colors as you can get. So perhaps the Daybreak one, where you have some blues, some pinks, some lights, that's very different. Something that would be very similar would be this here. As you can see, you have some really, really dark bluish, grayish kind of looking things, a little bit of yellow with hardly any changes if you look at this here, or some bluish without hardly any changes. And I really do encourage you to try to test this the same way. Just scroll through these. Even when it's locked, you can totally check them all out, right? But they're not very different from anything that you can get in here. You can get close enough. So try to get something that has as many colors that are as different from whatever you already have as possible. This one might be another good idea, the Grenier one, because it has a couple of very, very nice greens like this one. I really like this green. Okay, these kinds of things. What you should maybe stay away from is color packs like this one, for example, that has pretty much the same shades, or the same two shades, because if you start up here, you have white, and then you go down to about the middle, so you hit gray, and then the gray just keeps on getting darker and darker. This isn't really much variety. Of course, this particular smoke pack is super popular because it has this super black in here. This is the only true black in the whole game, which is a shame, but it also doesn't exactly matter, because if you get the free Valentine pack and use the dark red there, it seems just as black as this. It isn't, but it'll look just as black in game. So that's just a quick hack when it comes to colors in general that I want to give you guys. Now let me go hop over to my main account, where I have way more customization options, and we'll start building a frame from the ground up. Alright, so here we are on my main account, where I have pretty much all of the customization options available to me. This is going to be really well for demonstration purposes. I'm going to show you guys the Valentine pack really quickly. Where is it? Where are you? There you are, the Valentine pack. So this color right here, this dark, as you can see, this almost looks black, right? On energy colors for some Warframes, if you use this one, you'll see that it's a dark red, but just barely. But on most frames, this Valentine dark red actually looks black. That's why I would not recommend that you buy the smoke pack, because the smoke pack is normally purchased mainly because of that black. don't do that. I mean, do it if you want, but I'm just saying, if you have a platinum shortage, maybe you're going to want to micromanage your platinum a little bit differently. Okay, so when we get into customizing a frame and making your frame look as amazing as you possibly can. Of course, all of this is highly subjective. Something that I find dope, you might find hideous, and vice versa, and that's okay. But there is a method behind the madness. There is a reason why a lot of frames look really, really fabulous and why a lot of frames look a little off. The typical edgelord, for example, colors black and red or whatever, there's a reason why those things look a little bit off. And I'm no artist, I'm no photographer, I don't really have any serious knowledge about any of this stuff. I've just been fashion framing for many, many years, okay? And there are certain things that I've noticed that I watch when I'm customizing a frame, and I get asked this very, very often in video comments and also on stream. By the way, catch me on Twitch stream, all the links are down below. Anyway, we're going to customize Wisp. So the first thing that I think about when I'm about to customize a new frame, in this case we're using vanilla Wisp, is I look at what kind of a frame is it, what kind of a vibe is this frame trying to portray. Okay, every frame has some kind of a theme behind them. Rhino is a very heavy, kind of like brawler, brutal, tank-ish kind of machine, right? So I feel like the colors would look really good toward like maybe a military design, like an actual tank, just as an example. And then you might have something that's like really slender and really light, or seems really light and kind of very soft and stuff like that. Like let's say Yorelli, maybe with that you want to go with a less brutal color line, just as an idea, okay? The second aspect is, what do I want this frame to be? What do I want this frame to represent? What is my theme? Okay, I'm going to show you just as for context. I'm going to show you my Gara right quick. For those of you who know Guild Wars 2, you might be looking at this color right here, this theme, and be like, that looks familiar. And yeah, you're right, because I thought about the branded faction in Guild Wars 2 and wanted to make a branded Gara, and I think this is pretty close to that. So whatever theme it is you have in mind, and of course what the Warframe itself kind of like screams to be. All right, so the first thing that I would do is you go into appearance, and then the first thing is to just go down here to the colors and just randomize all the colors. Keep in mind, I'm going to have some crazy colors here because I have a lot of packs available to me. But I'll just scroll through this here, and the reason why you might want to do this as well is because it gives you a really good feeling for where darker versus lighter areas of the frame will pop and look really, really cool, okay? You get an idea for what you might want to go with. You might get an idea for what you don't like. For me, for example, I'm noticing that the bald head up here, this lich-looking ass head, is a little bit, I don't like that, man. It's like, it pops out, it disturbs my eye. So I know I'm probably going to use a different helmet on her, okay? All right, let me go ahead and go back and let me change the helmet. We're going to go with this helmet or whichever helmet you like. And we'll go back and do this a little bit more. Okay, now I can see where the cloth is. I like this much better. The head, the helmet itself doesn't pop into my face all that much. Now let me think of a theme. Wisp is kind of light, kind of ghost-ish, and I'm on purpose not trying to replicate my original Wisp, because my original Wisp is very dark. She's more like a Dementor from Harry Potter kind of vibe. I can show her to you right quick. There you go. Back to the vanilla Wisp. I'm going to go with something more ghost-like, a little lighter, something ghostish, I would say. All right, so I'm thinking something white, something bright, light feeling would be kind of nice, okay? So first I'm going to look for a base color, the color that affects the majority of the frame, okay? So this would be the primary color. It affects most of her body. As you can see, it affects most of everything. Of course, the most important part of the frame right here is, of course, these things that are hanging off of her head. That's also affected. So you're going to want to turn her around and like spin her around, rotate the frame and everything, and just have a look through these colors and see how you feel. Now, I said I want to go with something ghost-y, so I'm going to go with something light. I think I want to have something a little bit grayish, like not too white, because I don't want her to be a snowflake. I want her to be a ghost, and ghosts portrayed in all white, they look off. Okay, so let's go with maybe Maybe this one, that's not super bright. All right, cool. I kind of think that I like the cloth around her to also stay fairly light the way it is right now, but I think maybe a gray would be a nice contrast. No, that's not the one. Let's find that one. So we're just building up our frame as we want. There, that's fine. Or maybe a little darker. No, that's too dark. Let's go with this gray. This is okay. Well, maybe we want a little bit more contrast. This here, no, that's too brown. That's too gray. Where are some more grayish tones? Here we go. Here we go. All right, sure. Kind of grayish. All right. So now we're at the point where we can look at things that pop. Okay. A lot of frames, I'll show you in a second on Caliban perhaps, or maybe, I don't know, Wukong, or maybe Atlas. A lot of frames usually have some kind of indication of energy color that you can see within the frame, right? So frames that have like split open parts, like Shaka Zulu, for example, where you can see inside them, or Harrow with the deluxe skin where you can see the heart inside his chest cavity. For those kinds of instances, it's really good to make the outside of the frame darker and then use really vibrant colors for the inside, because then you'll make them really pop. Okay, otherwise they'll just kind of disappear in the frame, right? And we don't want that. So let's have a look. See here, I don't want this color to pop. I want, there you go, accents are, that's what I want. So since I said it's going to be ghost-ish themed, I kind of think that a silver-ish metallic kind of color for these braces and these metal trimmings would probably be befitting. I'm going to use a contrast color though. We need to get a little bit away from all this is too warm. We need to get a little bit away from the gray, otherwise it's going to be too much. Maybe we could use a black. See here, maybe the darkest of that one. Nah, I don't like that context right there too much. How about these? Nah, these are too blue. I mean, if you like that, you can do blue too. That works just fine. There you go. This is a silverish kind of thing, a little bit more darker silver. All right. Now we're going to have some poppage. Now, this is fairly ghosty. Oh, look, her back can actually show that. In here, you can see the energy colors. We're going to change that in just a little bit. And I'll show you guys how to make that pop too. So let's see here. Does that affect that too? Okay, it does. Let's go with the darkest black here for this one. There we go. I did this intentionally because I want the inside of here to seem black so that we can make the colors, the energy colors in here pop as well. And if you look in the front, it doesn't look super bad. It looks okay. All these trims, they look totally fine. You can use, of course, anything that you want, but we're going with a bit of an idea, a bit of a theme here. So if we go back to her back and we look at some of the emissive and energy colors, there you go. You can just scroll through and you can see that these here pop. Now, in my opinion, a ghost shouldn't really be related with heat. You can do that, obviously. It's your fashion, so do what you want. But ghost and heat, I'm thinking ghost and air. Air is white, often depicted as white, but a white energy color looks kind of meh. So maybe something a little bit more mystic, something a little bit more mysterious. So maybe something like a dark purple or whatever, or a pink maybe, or something like that. I'm kind of liking this one. I'll roll with this one. Let's use the secondary emissive and see if we can brighten that up just a little bit. Yeah, we can do that with the pink. Energy color, we're going to do kind of the same thing. Keep in mind, Wisp, which you will see in game. Wisp, when she casts her abilities, you can see aura around her that has certain colors, okay? And let's go with a let's go with a dark just to mix that up. Okay, so if you're looking at her back and you're like, hey, I really like this internal color here, this energy color, but it's not popping enough for you, then you don't need to go over here into the emissive and find a different color. It's never going to pop more. The reason why it's not popping is because it is a bright color on a black surface surrounded by a fairly bright color. So we would have to bring this cloth out here down a little bit in darkness, and you can see that it really makes it pop. If we go over to something really, really dark, like here, you can see that it pops even more. Of course, the material, the surface, and all that stuff, that also starts to play a role after a while. Totally fair. I agree with you, but this is what you will have to do in order to make smaller energy colors, little blips and stuff like that pop. Make the surrounding colors dark. So for my purpose here, I think I'm just going to darken this here up a little bit. Sure, why not? and say, okay, we're done. Let's just say, right? I'm liking this. This is kind of okay. I notice here this is looking a little bit too red in her face right here. So it gives me a bit of a warm vibe, and ghosts and warm don't really mix to me. But that's okay. Then we're going to go ahead and give her her character. So what kind of an attitude do I want her to have? I'm going to go with the default wisp attitudes here. Sure, let's go with this one because why not? Because she has no feet. So giving her any other animation set, any other attitude where she's standing on the ground, it just looks off. Okay, so this here looks kind of alright to me, I would say. Of course, we also have to check the back energy colors to make sure that that's popping the way we want it to. Fucking perverts, I know what you thought. Anyways, then it is time for attachments. Now, one of the reasons why I personally don't normally use the agile sets is because the agile sets are always these elaborate poses that are often with slanted bodies and tilted bodies and stuff like that, and that always clips poorly with Sayandanas. But for undisclosed reasons, I'm going to keep this one just for now and find a Sayandana attachment for her. Okay. Now, when it comes to attachments of any kind for your frame, every single frame has some kind of colors, some kind of textures, and some kind of shapes. Okay, I'll show you with Titania in a second. Wisp seems light, but also if you look at all of her shapes, she's very round and kind of like soft, and in some areas she looks a little bit like pudding. She's not very spiky, she doesn't look very aggressive or anything like that. She looks like she's very light and well-rounded. So, having a Sayandana on her that is incredibly spiky, like say this one, can provide a nice context, but often it'll just feel off, you know, sometimes. Like I said, it depends. And here, of course, you can also see the clipping, which is kind of meh. So what we want to look for is a Sayandana that disrupts the frame's natural flow as much as possible, or as little as possible, I should rather say. Just to demonstrate, I'm going to go back to the regular Wisp animation set, simply so that we don't have any bothersome clipping in the way. So let's have a look. Anything that is like round and not so much pointy. This here doesn't look right to me because it looks like it's attached to the cape, and it looks like it's very heavy, and we can see that the cape has some physics to it and it's not heavy at all. It's very light, so it just looks off. This here maybe, yeah, that would work. For example, it's not very disruptive. We could change the energy color to be darker so that you don't see it as much. It's kind of like slender and lengthy, just like Wisp herself. It's wavy a little bit as well, just like Wisp herself, and it's placed in an area where it seems like, yeah, that could physically work. So for argument's sake, I'm going to go ahead and stick with this one. We can randomize the colors again to get a vibe. We can go ahead and copy the Warframe colors. Don't like it. So let's go with random and go with this one, sure, and make one of these here a little bit darker. Oh, right, we had the mysterious kind of purplish thing going for us, so let's kind of stick with that. Oh, sure, maybe. Yeah, maybe a brighter perp kind of thing. Sure, why not? There you go. In this particular case, with this Sayandana, the internal colors won't matter too much anymore. But again, if you will want this Sayandana to pop, just make the outside a little bit blacker and maybe pop the colors a little bit by getting slightly brighter ones. Okay, but now I feel like we have a Sayandana that matches its physics and its shape and overall vibe to Wisp, for Wisp being very light and very like swervy, twirly kind of vibe to a clothy, very clothy, cloudy vibe, which I feel this Sayandana gets. But again, you can use anything, of course. Like I said, this fashion frame stuff is super subjective. So, that being said, you might want to get some attachments. Same thing applies here as well. If you're looking for any kinds of attachments for shoulders or whatever, you're going to want to look for something that kind of complements her body shape and the way that she moves, okay? And if not, then just get something that disrupts the Warframe as little as possible. This here would be kind of okay. It's a little bit off if you look at it from the side because this thing is fairly wide and her upper arm, her biceps and triceps are not super thick. So this might look a little bit off, but on the other hand, it doesn't disrupt anything of the frame. If you look on the side, squint your eyes, this doesn't pop out or stand out as a sore thumb. It might for you, maybe it won't. Another popular one that I see on Wisp very often are these here. Simply because they float kind of, or seem to elevate around the shoulder, which does work. I would say that does work. It is okay. You can do that. I mean, what am I saying? You can do anything you want. This is your fashion after all. But if you look at it, it also has like a round shape. If you look like at the curvature of her shoulder armor now, it's round like this. And if you look at the curvature of her hip, which is emphasized with those little fabric things on the sides, it's also like this. So you just kind of like go with that sand glass, hourglass kind of roll, kind of flow, and that really helps the Warframe and its shapes. You can turn around again and see how it looks with the vibe. The movement looks nice, it looks okay. Of course, make sure that you make the colors look as close to the rest as you possibly can. On this one, I'm going to try something. So this black here on this thing is very, very harsh. Let's copy. Yeah, that's what I thought. So we just copied the Warframe color now, okay? And now it blends too much. It looks like one piece, okay? So this grayish, beigeish brown kind of look is the same as here. So we're gonna change that to be a tad brighter or a tad darker, okay? And the reason why I'm going to do that is for contrast's sake. Maybe a little too dark, maybe a little bit too bright. Yeah. Let's go with the darker one, okay? And now what I'm also going to do is give some different metallics to her, because as you can see right now, it does pop a little bit, but not as much as I would like. So let's find the metallic color real quick. Oh, there we go. You already found it. There you go. Now you can see that the metallics on the shoulder armor changes with this color here. Now I just want something that pops a little bit, just to give a new texture basically, because this could be a different metal than what is built in on the Warframe, in between right here for example, or here on the trims and stuff. These things, I want that to be a little bit different. So we could go with something a little bit warmer maybe. There you go. So now it's kind of like solar panel reflecting sunlight kind of thing, a telescope in outer space kind of thing. She does, after all, harness the power of the sun, so that does kind of work. The fact that this is a little bit darker reminds me of, you know, space, universe, yada yada, so that works really well, in my opinion. You might hate it, and that's also fair. Like I said, this is Fashion Frame, and you can do whatever the hell you want. And the same thing goes for the legs. Find something that complements her shape, okay? Let's go with the other leg though. There you go, something that complements her shape. I personally like this one very much, right? You might hate it, but try to get something that doesn't disrupt so much. Like this here, this looks disruptive to me. The shaping, the bulk of it, it feels very, very heavy. It doesn't look right on a frame that seems to be very, very light. And that's exactly how you would go about all of your fashion. Consider the shapes, consider the curvatures of your frame, consider the frame's character, and consider what you want that frame to be. So let me go ahead, like I said, and demonstrate, or not demonstrate, but rather just show off my some of my other frames. Who did I say? Titania. Let's go with Titania. Titania is very spiky, she's very rugged, she is very mean looking, very vicious looking. So with her, I went with a little bit more aggressive coloring. I used a lot of dark, a lot of blacks with some highlights. Red is a very aggressive color, depending on what it looks like on your frame. She has these bugs flying around her that are all super, super spiky and volatile looking as hell. So it makes sense to me to make her look as aggressive and as mean as possible, right? And it's also the way I play her. I play my Titania very aggressively. And if you check out the Syandana, this is also a fairly spiky Syandana. It doesn't hang down because it would clip through these wings here and stuff. So there's a lot of thought that goes into all of this. And again, I changed the Syandana metallic color to kind of contrast the metallic color that she already has on her, just to help the Syandana pop a little bit more, okay? And as a backdrop for the Syandana, I put down the Arbiters of the Hexes, I think is what this is. what's it called, emblem, glyph, whatever they're called. I'll put that down there to just kind of like smoothen out the back a little bit and allow the sign down to take a bit more of a front roll. Okay, what was the other frame that I was going to show you guys? I could show you, for example, my Harrow as well. If you check out my Harrow, this is kind of leaned toward a fire djinn, also again from Guild Wars 2. They float and they use fire, and they look kind of like this in terms of outfits, so kind of like they reside in the desert and stuff. So that's kind of my thought that I went with this Harrow, which is why he's floating as well, etc., etc. And you go through your frames one by one all the same way. Oh, I'll show you one more thing since I see the ephemera right here. So this is my chroma, okay? My chroma is an electrical chroma. I always use electrical chroma because for me, electrical lizard is the best, okay? That for me. You can use whatever you want, but if you would, for example, go with a themed ephemera, for example, then obviously I would probably have to go with the electrical one. Where is it? Where are you at? There you go. And change the energy color of this electricity to blue, of course. You know what? I'm going to actually do it because I need that anyways, so that'll work out fine. Blue, 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 blue. Where's that nice bright blue? Here's one. And maybe make the contrast color of it white. Well, we can do that later, it doesn't matter. Y'all get the gist of it. So now the theme, everything about this chroma screams electrical chroma. You see him and you know what he's about. You know he's there for business, right? And this is how you can and maybe should try to follow your fashion design. There's always the same kind of procedure. Your Warframes have a certain character, a certain idea behind them, a theme behind them. You can emphasize that if you want to, or move away from that entirely. Like a Saren doesn't necessarily always need to look like a toxic frog. You can make her look like whatever, and so on and so forth. You can do this with any of the frames. Hell, you can make Frost look like a fire wielding frame if you want to, that produces magma instead. You can do all of these things. It's totally up to you. And then just try to follow the textures, the shapes, the sizes, and the flow, the overall flow of your frames. And by doing that, you will possibly make your frames look way better than they are right now. Unfortunately, there is no way to give you guys a guide on how to customize your fashion frame at low level, aka low platinum. No customizations whatsoever. If you don't have any color packs available, then unfortunately you are extremely limited to like, what, 12 different colors? And at that level, just pick whatever you hate the least and you're good to go. And then as you play the game, you will receive a couple of free ones and some free stuff here and there, which will be fine, but not enough. So eventually you will be spending some platinum to fully make your Warframe your own. So then, I hope that this guide helped you guys a little bit. This is how I go about fashioning my stuff every single time with all of my frames. If you guys are curious to hear a little bit more about my fashion overall, or you want to share your fashion, or you want to talk fashion or whatever, I recommend that you guys show up at my streams and we can talk about it and go into this in a little bit more detail. For now though, I think this video has gone on for long enough. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my shitty channels. Oh my god. Stay healthy and safe, take care of yourselves, and peace out.